So in the first episode with Jan, we talked about what he did as a role and what is the role of BeWeee Cycle. But in the second one, it's very important to stress out what are the relationships with BeWeee and what are the targets of BeWeee. So how does he see the future and how are the evolutions? So I think it's very important to have a second one.
Xavier, the road, we heard that from Jan, it's quite an impressive objective, the 65, but the road remains.
The road still remains until that we have, with the European Commission, a review of the directive, but we still go for the 65. But I want to stress, really objective, if compared to other countries, we do the job well. So what is reported is really reported. So we take the process like it has to be. What I want to say with that is that other countries are not such strict or not such achievable targets. So if we are on the 4th of the 5th place, it's a really 4th or 5th place.
Okay, great job. Talking about European, is there something missing in the European discussion on the topic of recycling?
Well, missing, I think, what I feel, that's more my personal opinion. I have always been a huge fan of Europe. I studied law a long time ago, and my last year even European law, so I was really a believer in Europe. But since I'm at BeWeee Cycle, I'm really disappointed in the European Union, because I see a lot of economical barriers and hurdles, a lot of bureaucracy as well, country per country. And also noticed in 70 years BeWeee Cycle that at the end of the day you say, wow, there are 27 kings and prime ministers and chancellors and whatever, but they all have their own wishes. And then if you have then a European legislation, a directive, or even a regulation, you still see that 27 times they want to add something of their own. And saying, my country, oh no, I want that this line is gold. And in other countries say, no, the same line, for me, it has to be silver. And then it's like, where is this European Economic Union? Where is this efficiency where we hoped that this European Economic Union would create? So that's what I'm missing when you also talking about our subject, let's say, because I miss a harmonization amongst all the producer responsibility organizations in Europe. Okay, there is a Waste Framework Directive. Since 2018, there is a new article inserted to get this in place, but it's still not done. So this is a bit missing. You have a definition of recycling, for example, in Europe, but you still see that the interpretation is sometimes 27 times different. What is considered here as recycling is maybe in Germany considered as landfilling. I'm talking about what you put in the road infrastructure. Well, some countries consider this as recycling, others say, no, this is landfilling. But if the other country is reporting data which has been put in road infrastructure, is like landfilling, and Belgium reports this as recycling. It's now an example. I'm not saying that it's true or false, but that's what we are missing. What we are also missing is inspection. I'm not saying there are not inspection authorities, and the Flemish region is even a nice example of one of the best in class in Europe. But in other countries, they have barely two staff members who do inspection for a big country. And they do what they want and when they have time. But a lot of waste is not inspected. A lot of things which are under the name of reuse, going to the harbor of Hamburg or Marseille or Antwerp or whatever, They are leaving the country, nothing, and this is really what I'm missing in general in Europe. That everybody is still weeding in its own yard, and okay, I'm not saying we as BeWeee Cycle, but we have this advantage. We were built in 2007 immediately with a mindset we operate all over Europe, which we did with one legal entity between 2008 and 2014, and I always said it was much more fun at that time being at BeWeee Cycle than now, because now I have to manage 6 legal entities, 6 times a bookkeeping, 6 times an accountant, 6 times this, 6 times that, local staff, local this. It's not really creating more efficiency. On the contrary, I have more cost than ever before. And that would really help if people were thinking a bit more like, okay, where we can create efficiency, let's do it. And at the end of the day, especially when then you think about there is a European legislation, well, then also let's try to harmonize and let's have a common inspection and a common interpretation of definitions. And once we would all have this in place, I think, you would also see something improving. As Xavier explained, we are probably at number 5 spot with our current collection target we achieve as Belgium, but it's not normal that Bulgaria is number 1 on this ranking. And if people who know how it is organized produce responsibility in Bulgaria, it's not for this podcast, but everybody knows this is really not correct that they are on number 1. That this is completely not possible. But okay, in Brussels, in the European Commission, they are on the number 1 spot, and Belgium is only on number 5. Okay, so and that's where that's what I'm missing a little bit. That
coherence,
this coherence, and also this lack of the link between the Brussels Commission and the member states. Even though every member state has its permanent representation in Brussels, but you still see in reality there is a huge gap between Athens or Berlin or whatever capital of each country towards Brussels. And I think that's what I would also look forward, that the European Commission officials are leaving much more their office and go into the prairie and go into the European Union. This would also help to also get a more European feeling on this point, but it would also help the industry because now it's still a little bit, Brussels saying A, and they are supposing that everybody is following.
But the only thing is that it's not only in your segment, this discussion. This is a broader discussion. But last point in this topic around BeWeee, the 65%, how the public, the general public, can add any value on achieving this 65%?
By for photovoltaic, for solar panels, I can as such not complain too much. We know our products are having a long lifetime. I think it's more for the classical electrical and electronic equipment. Well, recently I have to do a presentation in March for a service club somewhere here in Belgium, and was talking with the chairman in preparation meeting. And then he was also telling me, look, Jan, what can we as Service Club do on achieving this? And because I have here 3 laptops, and he was showing me the laptops, and he had 3 mobile phones in his wardrobe. And I said, but I'm not willing to give them away or to because there is still some confidential data on it. So I'm thinking there are potentially 6 electronic equipments lying there at his place, but he will not release them because he has no, in his opinion, there is no solution for confidential wiping of his equipment, and these are elements I think we also, it's maybe an upcoming role of BeWeee. I'm now speaking in just a little bit. It's not a decision yet taken at BeWeee, but that could be, for example, also a role where we communicate towards on an independent way towards the broader public on how you can get rid of this with a confidential wiping of your mobile phones or your electronic equipment at the following list of companies or whatever, because they are existing in Belgium, existing enough of them, but the broader public is not aware of this. And if this is then the argument not to give back their old laptop or their old mobile phone, then we are missing something. And that's, that was now a recent lesson learned again. But I think, communication, it's like advertising. I think we have to repeat again, and that's also what you see with the PROs in Belgium. The recent campaign of BeWeee, they have a target to get so many batteries out of our houses. It's each time the same exercise, and I think this is something we have to continue to do. But I think also we need to involve maybe a bit more also the professionals in the value chain, saying to waste collecting companies or to installers or whoever, or to distribution channels, share this with your customers and or use a QR code on your invoice and make some more noise about how to get rid of your waste on a proper way, and also with the confidentiality stamp that things will be taken care of properly.
How do you look at the wider public objective and helping to reach the 65?
I totally agree that you have to inform people. It's like a little bit like, I take the example, we may not say it in the podcast, but why does Coca-Cola always does the same spots is to remember. So I think effectively, even if it's no, you have to repeat it every year. So I think it's very important. And there we have the support of the Recupals and the other ones. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. Advertising has a role, and the repetition is important, but people, I assume, don't have the reflection of their toothbrusher to collect it in the right way and to bring it to the right place.
Yeah. On the other hand, I think we're focusing correctly much on laptops and mobile phones, and because these are, we all know there's some confidential data which we want to get rid of on a proper way. I think for the rest, I would say Belgium is doing doing very well in getting everything sorted out. We are used with our blue bags, with the glass, with the paper and cardboard, with so many other things, but it would be worthwhile. We have now also an organization which is a little bit grouping all the PROs in Belgium. It's called Rounds, set up also as a non-for-profit association. Well, there also is one of the objectives to really set up a campaign about communicating that all these PROs exist for the several waste streams. And I think there could be really an important role to use this round organization to communicate about it. But again, I think personally what I see in the numbers, we are not performing bad at all if you look at on a European level. But we might be, as Belgium, sometimes, as also we do with BeWeee, we are correct, but sometimes we are too correct compared to other countries. What I sometimes see how things are reported as Xavier also said for we in other countries, but also how they manage sometimes other streams they have to report to Eurostat. Yeah, then you see sometimes the numbers in Eurostat. This is unbelievable. These numbers are not fully correct, or they conflict with the numbers in that specific country. Germany, we already have noticed this. What they have sometimes reported on tons collected of BeWeee is not matching with what they have in the German statistic agency. And then you're wondering how come? Maybe they have too much agencies who have to manage this item, while at Belgium at that point we are then maybe speaking with one voice, also the public agencies, where one of the three regions takes the lead and says, I will report to Europe. But that's I would not really now. That would be my point. It's not. Let's not be pessimistic about Belgium. We are doing fine in collecting a lot of things separately, but of course we can still improve, like many others as well.
Okay, jumping to the last topic, Jan being as a board member of BeWeee. What's the reason, or what's your primary focus being a board member for BeWeee?
Well, as I said to Xavier and to the rest of the board as well, it would be nice if we are the first achieving the 65%. Bulgaria already took that spot, as I explained. If it's right or wrong, leave it in the middle. But I think it would be good that we become a top 5 player in achieving the targets, whatever target this might be. Is it now the 65? Still will continue for a few years, but hopefully with some new KPIs in place in the next legislation, then I would really say, for BeWeee, it has to be that we becoming a top 5, top 3 player in this field, that we are really achieving the nice goals, that we are there on top performing. And I think also as an organization, we are fit to become also, I would say, the leading example of what is a WE register has to look like. because in some other countries, even big countries, you see that this WE register is something, something aside. We also have to do this towards Europe, and they do not invest in this. It's managed by a complete external party, which is opening the doors 2 months in a year, and then says, okay, people, you can report. And after 2 months, the doors are closed, and the external party sends its invoice to the Ministry of Environment. No, I think here we really have a separate organization. We have a separate managing director, and yes, you can hopefully in the near future give it a bit more hands and feet, and really make it an example, for e-waste, and maybe also for potentially other waste streams. That could also be an option. So I think there's still a bright future for BeWeee ahead. And especially with what we now achieved after 7-8 years, was nicely done. Getting 45,000 tons out of the market, which was previously not reported. That's the first giant step, and of course now still some nice challenges ahead, of course.
Last question. If you could make one key demand for the future on electronic waste management, what would it be, or what would be your personal goal in this topic?
Get as much as possible e-waste collected in Belgium, and also, but as much and as broad as possible, meaning that also preparing for reuse, recycling, it's all reported. Then I think we will also achieve a higher number of objective. I will not say the 65, but okay, today we have to end with the 65 because we still have this as our target. But e-waste management, we're doing well, but it can still be better. And I still think that's also the black box BeWeee can play there a very vital role to get still more tons out of the market and report it to them.
Okay. It's up to you to close the podcast session.
I would really thank Jan for his collaboration and his time that he spent today. They were very keen insights and very important. So what I can indicate is that in June we will have a third podcast, and there we will talk about reuse and the whole sector. And I hope to have 1 or 2 key players of the market to talk about what is reusing and what are we defining a finished product and reusing.
Okay.
So many thanks, Jan, for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you as well.
It was very interesting. Thank you, Jan, and thank you, Xavier.
Thank you.